I don't know how I found out about St. Mary's University. I can't, do you remember how I got the name? Maybe it was an advertisement. I just don't know. So I came down and talked to some...
Donahue.
Brother John
Donahue.
And it was so that at the time they didn't have anybody microbiology and they wanted to put some things in. Again, UTSSA was not here, so they were trying to get people into medical school and dental school.
We first met in the 60s when we began teaching here at St. Mary's University. And we became friends in the 70s and good colleagues. That's when we got to know each other better. And then that friendship and that colleagueship continued to grow during those days in the 80s and 90s and early in this century. We would compare our scores, and as many times as not, our student evaluations were equal, and we would rush to tell the other what score we received.
Oh, he's good, but I used to get him. I said, yeah, you're a political scientist, and I'm a real scientist. I used to get under his skin, man. I used to use this trick, but I wasn't lying. I was asking how many people you want to go to medical school and dental school? You know, a ton of them. And I said, this is microbiology, you know, and the microbiology here is the same thing over there, particularly with the medical part. So if you take it here, it'll be easy over there. Boy, that used to grab them.
Microbiology was one of the hardest classes I took at St. Mary's. And then the fact that when I asked him to write my letter of recommendation to medical school, it was without hesitation.
That southern drawl of his, you know, I thought it was hilarious that he used to reference, those of us that took microbiology know that E. coli is a pretty common bacteria, and the full scientific name is Escherichia coli. But in his southern drawl, he'd say, here's your old friend Escherichia coli again. And so I'll never forget just the way his mannerisms in doing that.
I arrived in 1976, and the emphasis of the department was on pre-med, pre-dental at that time, and really continued that way through the 80s and halfway through the 90s, when at that point, under the suggestion of Dean Kaufmann, we broadened the emphasis to include all the health professions, including, you know, physical therapy, optometry, podiatry, physician assistant nursing. As chair, he did things that none of us have been able to do. He didn't have release time, so he had a full teaching load of 2 biology courses like microbiology and immunology, lecture and lab going continuously, as well as being chair. So he had no release time to do the duties of chair, but he managed to do everything very well in an excellent way.
Tony really laid the groundwork and the foundation for what our biology program has become in terms of many of the agreements we have with other institutions that enable our students to participate in their programs, the HEAP, which is the Health Professions Related Admission Program, the nursing, FASTs, and our participation in JAMP, which are programs for students interested in medical school. More recently, though, Tony was involved in initiating the forensic science degree on our campus, which I think is unique when you look at other forensic science programs, is that students have an option between biology, chemistry, and criminology.
He was very accessible, very much so. And in fact, for a while, we used, because I'm an early riser and he is an early riser, we normally get to work around 6:30 a.m. And we used to go and walk for like half an hour in the early morning and discuss different issues of the department and the school and the institution and get back to work.
The entire institution, the way it embraced me and the way I felt so much at home allowed me to achieve as much as I could.
I've been just so blessed to have a professional career that ended up developing beyond my wildest expectations, and the experiences I've had, I think, you know, I never could have seen them back then, 30 years ago. And the fact that things did play out the way they have in my career, and the successes and good fortune and blessings that I've had, I just attribute it back to where I started. Very same people that I went to high school and college with are the people that I still socialize with, the people that are my dentists and my lawyers and my accountants and in our practice here. And I think that's all a result of being in a Marianist community.
I definitely think it's part of the Marianist mission, and is that we need to serve our students, and our faculty take that to heart and do everything we can in our ability to help students.
He loves the School of Science, Engineering, and Technology, which he aided in founding in the mid-'80s.
He helped engineering so much.
Without the scholarships, the talented students of modest means, many of whom have no relative that went to college, and yet they're extremely gifted, there would be no way that they could come to St. Mary's.
I don't look at it as Tony Kaufmann. I look at it as people getting something from that. That's the way I look at it. It's not me. I had a part of it, but the money's going on for them. That's what's important.